Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Stronghold podcast. I'm here with Muujig from Equilibrium. Muujig, can you tell me how to pronounce your last name, dude? I'm going to butcher it.
It's called Altantugs.
One more time?
Altantugs.
Altantugs.
Yes.
Muujig Altantugs. By at least my standards, probably the number one competitor in Singapore, I would say, man. You've been crushing people. I actually first found out about you because you moved here during COVID, right?
Yes.
And I first found out about you when I was doing the commentary for your match with Bruno at, what was that competition called? The one that Oz was hosting.
Was the SG Invitational?
Yeah, Singapore Invitational.
Yes.
And you competed against Bruno Amarim, who's been in the scene for a really long time, who's a really talented, he's a world champion at Brown Belt like 10 years ago or something like that. Really, really talented jiu-jitsu player. And I've rolled with him over the years, of course, in Singapore. And then I just saw you buzzsaw through him, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Dude, I've heard like horror stories about your guard passing. Like your guard passing gives people nightmares. Like I literally heard from. I haven't had the pleasure to roll with you yet. Maybe we can alleviate that pretty soon. But I have just heard from every person that I talk to you just talks about that your guard passing is just brutal and ruthless. And then when I saw you cut through Bruno's guard, who's got a good guard, I was like, oh shit, this guy's fucking legit. So, thank you for being on the podcast.
No, thank you for having me.
We're having some beers. Get in there, dude. Cheers.
Cheers.
Muujig, my pleasure, man. Nah, we can air touch.
Cheers.
Otherwise, we have to climb ourselves out of here.
Yeah, don't move.
Jake, the producer in the house, as always. Jake, you're a legend.
Cheers.
We love you.
On the water.
Jake's too. If Jake has water, you know what happened. He drank too much yesterday. Too much to the point where he can't even have a little hair of the dog.
I have serious anxiety today. My heart was racing this morning. I was like, am I having a panic attack? I'm not sure.
Oh, you drank that much?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, Jake, you enjoy your water.
Good water.
So anyway, Muujig, I was saying, you came here during COVID, right?
Yes.
What's your story, man? How did you end up in Singapore?
Well, so my girlfriend, she is a PR in Singapore. So I decided to visit her for like a month. And then that's when I got to meet Yang, and he asked me if I would like to work together. I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yang, who's been on the podcast, who Jake knows from when he trained at Equilibrium. Your wife now? Is she your wife? Girlfriend?
No, it's still my girlfriend.
Don't let me put that in your mouth, dude. I don't want to give anybody any ideas.
Not yet my wife.
Actually, because Charmaine, my wife, competed against her. I think it was her first match at Purple Belt. Charmaine's first match at Purple Belt was against Sue, way back in the day.
Yes, it was, yes.
You were there. I think
I was there, yes.
That was the first time I ever saw you. And then I remember seeing you later on. Sue's fucking good, man. She's good.
Yeah, she's great.
She put the beat down on Charmaine. I was like, what the fuck is this? Dude, her open guard was nasty, and she has some crazy crossface pressure. And then it's one of those things where, like, after 1 minute, you just know, like, oh, she's not going to win this match. This is brutal. She had a crossface, and it looked like her chin was, like, pinned to her shoulder, and she was trying to escape. And I was like, well, dear, you're just going to have to ride this one out, because you're not getting out of that shit.
You are staying there, and you ain't moving for 5 minutes. Like, get used to it.
So how long you been here now?
Been here for 2 years now. Like, literally during the time of COVID.
Yeah, you got here just when it began, pretty much. Or a little bit into it, I guess.
Yes. So... Right, literally, I came. I did a two-week homestay notice. Then when I got out, we went straight into circuit breaker.
Oh, so, right when you got here, it was circuit breaker.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
You came at a weird time, man.
A little bit, yeah.
You definitely came at a weird time.
A little bit.
Wait, so how do you know Sue then? Because she's a PR here. How did you end up meeting her?
So Sue, she was studying in London, and then she started training jiu-jitsu at Roger Gracie Academy. And I was there as well, and that's how we met each other.
Which is interesting, because I think we have some shared lineage. Who gave you your black belt?
It was Jason Hunt.
Is he a Hodger guy?
No, he's not a Hodger guy.
But it was at the academy?
No, it wasn't at that academy.
Oh, I thought you were at the Hodger Gracie Academy.
I was there until brown belt. Then that's when I left and moved to Singapore when I was a brown belt.
Oh, you moved here when you were a brown belt?
Yes.
Oh, I see. But you did your color belts through Hodger's Academy?
Yes.
Okay, so the guy that gave me my black belt is Hodger's first black belt.
Oh, yeah.
Nick
G.
Yeah, do you know him?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
I know him.
He's the one that gave me my black belt.
Oh, wow.
So we got a little bit of something going on there. A little bit of something going on. I can see that fucking guard passing already when I watch you compete. I don't want any part of that, dude. That's crazy, man. It's a small world. So you're a pretty new black belt then.
Yes.
Actually, we must have got our black belt right around the same time. I got mine in... I just got my first stripe. I got mine like the 2019, very beginning of 2019 or very end of think it was January
You got
2019.
it just before lockdown, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, because we just were able to get Nick here, but COVID was already a thing.
Yeah.
It was already happening. It just hadn't actually gotten to Singapore yet. So those competitions that you did were like your first at black belt.
So yeah, the Bruno fight, that was my first black belt.
Man, it's
tournament,
crazy to
yeah.
put that on Bruno when you just got your black belt, man. That's crazy. Are you like a competitor? Like, is that really what you're into doing?
Yes. Yeah, I'm still. My goal is to still compete and try to become world champion, of course.
Do you have any? Of course, I'm the total opposite. You say that as if everybody's like that, and I'm just like, what? I don't have any interest in that, man. So, do you have any competitions coming up, or?
So right now I'm thinking go to Abu Dhabi in November. Then the next one will be the ADCC in Singapore, and then we'll see probably Europeans in January.
Oh, so you got a nice circuit. Wait, the one in November is the Thailand one?
Oh no, the World Pro in
Oh,
Abu Dhabi.
it's the one in Abu Dhabi. There's an ADCC I thought also in November in Phuket or something like that. That Rob was talking to me about.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So I had to kind of make a choice between either go to Thailand to the ADCC or go to do the World Pro in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I think the World Pro is probably a bigger tournament, right?
Yes.
Bigger cash prize and stuff.
Yes.
What's your weight class?
I have to see first.
You still don't know. Oh, what do you weigh now?
I weigh is like around 66.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's a nice category. So you got a nice competition schedule coming up. What's your like? How would you describe your style, man? Like, what's what are some of your go-to moves and stuff?
Oh man. I would say, like you said, like guard passing, but I don't mind playing guard. I like playing guard, but
What's your go-to guard?
right now, like shin to shin, butterfly guard, X guard, single leg X. So it's kind of turning into like a no-gi style of guard game, I guess.
Did you only start? We were actually talking about this before the podcast. That you're doing a little bit more no-gi now than you were when you were coming up. Did you spend most of your time training in the gi?
Actually, when I first started, I was doing gi, but I was also competing no gi. But so I would say like 50-50.
Would you train no-gi too, or you would just train in the gi and then just go to no-gi competitions?
Oh, I would train in the no gi as well.
Oh, you do.
Yes,
You do
yes.
both. Because I know the Brazilians are all about that. Like, no. If you want to get better at no-gi, you just train in the gi.
Do gi.
It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But what's your, like, do you have more of like that new age style? Like, are you doing a lot of, I guess in no-gi, are you doing a lot of the inversions and the heel hooks and the new age stuff, or do you? It looks like your game's like pretty classic, which I like, right? Like that kind of old school Hodger Gracie kind of style, right? It's just very basics sharpened to a razor's edge, right? Really, really tight.
Yes, I'm learning how to do the leg locks game right now as well, but I still prefer guard passing. But then also with the guard passing, I've been doing more like floating pass, more floaty, I guess.
Those floating passes, I cannot figure them out. I keep trying, and then I just end up getting swept. It's like the ones where you go to your hands,
Yes.
right, and then you
Yes.
start to pummel your legs inside.
Yes.
I just cannot figure that out. I've tried so hard. All of like Gordon Ryan's passes, who just came off of a huge ADCC. Did you catch any of those?
Yes,
Matt?
I saw it. It was.
Did you stay? Were you one of those guys that stayed up until like 2 or 3 in the morning to watch all the ADCC
I
matches?
tried.
You tried?
I did my best.
Yeah.
but
What did you think about him, man? What a fucking amazing athlete.
it's just next level. It's amazing.
He makes it look so easy.
He does.
And he's going against world caliber guys. He won the finals in like a minute or something. Like, didn't he outside heel hook
Nicky Rod's.
Nicky Rod in
Yeah.
like a minute or something like that? And he just tapped immediately. He knew.
Yeah.
And then with Galvo, he just literally had his arm trapped on the back. And it looked like he was trying to bite him. Did you guys see that? It looked like Galvo was trying to bite Gordon. I don't think he was trying to bite him, but he would like put his hand in there, and then you would see Galvo be like, like
That
I don't
was
think he was
his-
actually biting him, but he's at least like, maybe he's pushing his hand in there. I don't know.
That was his literal only defense though, because his other arm's strapped down there. And he's like, "Oh, I've got problems. I've got a mouth. I'll use that to defend."
He's so good at trapping arms on the back. I've never seen somebody so consistently trap arms on the back like Gordon. I tried to watch that transition, how he did it, because, I mean, I could probably speak to you about this, but, when you're on someone's back, you can go to
Yes.
the overhook side or the underhook side. And if you go to the underhook side, it's much easier to trap the arm.
Yes.
Right? When I get to the overhook side, I find it very hard to like trap that arm in transition. And Gordon does it so well. It seems like every person he competes against, they end up in a body triangle with that arm pinned against their stomach, just fucking sticking their chin on their chest like that for the whole match until he inevitably pummels his hand under and then chokes him. Like that back system, I never saw anything like that before. Do you do that stuff? Do you do the straight jacket stuff when you're on the back?
Yes, I do try it, but of course not as good as Gordon. But
the crazy bit is everyone knows it's coming. Like it's no secret that that's what he's going to do, and people still can't stop it. That's the insane part to me. Like, and you know, obviously he can do it to me like infinity times in a minute, but to do it against the best in the world, that's the insane part about him. Like, how is it? How?
Well, do you remember when they started to release their instructionals? Because originally, when they started heel hooking everybody in those EBI competitions, they were very they hid their techniques even. Like they would tell people at the seminars, you can't record. And then all of a sudden, Danaher started releasing instructionals. Gordon started releasing instructionals. They're telling everybody all their shit, and still nobody can stop it. That's the hilarious thing. He's literally showing you exactly what he does.
Yeah.
And people are studying it. They're using this is how you know how much like that DDS squad, like Danaher's instructionals, Gordon Ryan's instructionals have like infected the jiu-jitsu community because everybody's using the same nomenclature. They're using the same jargon. They're using the same words. And you're starting to see more and more like single leg X was single leg X for the entire time I've been training. Now it's Ashigarami. Like people are seeing all of these words and they're absorbing the language and it's just permeating the entire jiu-jitsu culture, but still nobody can stop them. Even people that train with them.
yes,
Yeah, because Nicky Rods used to be in Danaher Death Squad and then left. I'm not sure who he's with now. So he must have known what was up and what was coming. And again, could do nothing about it.
I think that's why he tapped quickly to that heel hook. He was like, I've been here before. I know.
I know what's up.
better tap first.
I know what's about to happen. Who impressed you, Muujig? Was there like a performance from the ADCC that like stood out or like something worth studying? Was like a standout performance?
Probably the Rotolo brothers.
Yeah. Cade looked amazing.
Yeah.
Eh? He looked amazing. He got 100% submissions rate.
Yes,
right?
he did. Yeah,
Who did Ty lose to in the first match?
I think it was what's his name?
I can't remember.
Oh man,
I would ask you to check. But
Yes,
it's
and I am pulling it up on that TV.
yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
I think it was Josh Hinger.
That's what it was, which is a pretty big upset, actually.
Yeah.
I remember people used to talk like that Ty was like the better Rule Tula, like that was the thing that was going around. And then to see Cade smash everybody and Ty get out. But then Ty beat fucking Felipe Pena, which is insane. And he should have beat probably Nick Marigali too, right? I thought he won that match. Did you see that one? That was the referee decision.
Yeah.
Who did you think won that?
Just as a smaller man, I would always give it to.
You got to give him the love, right?
Yes.
You got. I mean,
you got to give it to.
He's like 25 kilos heavier than those Rule Tula brothers are amazing. So I'm a judge for one as well, and I was there judging when Cade competed against Aoki and then Ty competed against Gary Tonin. And I remember like Cade said something either when we were in the back or on the broadcast about how everybody says he's like the worst Rule Tula, like Ty's everybody apparently thinks is better. And then to see Cade just go in and submit everybody at 19 years old, man, that armbar that he got on Lachlan, that was nasty.
That was nasty.
That was nasty. And it came so quick, just posting up from north-south, sticking his arms. And you would think like he'd be able to pull his elbows in. Cade snatches that arm, gives him a couple fucking foot stomps to the head. It's that arm, right? That's what he did. That's what he did. But you have to, though.
Yes.
I love ADCC because it's like the most aggressive of all of the tournaments. Is that what's your favorite rule set to compete under?
Probably ADCC.
Any particular reason why?
It's just so much more entertaining. It's just so much more action. Just so much more harder to score. I don't know. It's just a more entertaining style of tournament.
I like the hard wrestling too. That's always nice. And I think that they have a good split now where it's like the no points and then the points come in later on. I like that you can slam out of submissions. I'm like an MMA bro, so I love that shit. Like if you can slam your way out of a submission, I'm totally into it. And this one I feel like was the best one I'd ever seen. Normally, I'm not a big like watch jiu-jitsu guy. I'm an MMA guy, right? Like that's my favorite thing. And I of course love jiu-jitsu, but I just find like MMA shit, Jake. What was that?
It's all right. I fixed it. Wrong button.
Jake, how dare you? But I prefer watching MMA just generally. But I was actually entertained by this ADCC, unlike any of the other ones. I feel like no gi is probably got more growth now than gi. You think more people are like, if you had to guess, what do you think more people are starting to train? Gi or no gi?
I think the trend is no gi, but still quite a lot of people still focus on the gi, I feel like.
What about your students? Are they more
So
gi?
right now the schedule we have is like 60% gi, 40% no gi, and still people prefer to start off with the gi for some reason, but once they start, they like the no gi as well.
I feel like in Singapore, gi is still really popular. I think because most of the scene here was built by Brazilians, and they live and die on that gi, right? You fucking have to kill them to take that gi off of them, right?
Yes.
But now it seems like it's shifting a little bit. Actually, I didn't realize Equilibrium was even 40% no gi. Because most of the gyms in Singapore, it's like 20.
Yeah.
If that. We do 50-50 at Stronghold. Like, we have gi and no gi every day, like, all the way through the day. It's like 50-50. We don't switch it up. But there's only a few gyms that are like that. Most of them, even Evolve. Like, when I was training at Evolve 8 years ago, they had like 1 or 2 no gi classes a week. Everything was gi. But now I feel like it's starting to shift a little bit. But it's still weird because if you go to the tournaments here, like Evolve no gi is still pretty underrepresented. There's like the no gi gyms in Singapore now. And it used to be like mostly gi competitions. But somewhere a few years ago, they started doing a lot more no gi competitions. And then you can see the scene explode. And like, are you on that no gi chat, that group chat?
No.
I'll add you.
Okay.
If you want to do it.
Yes, for sure.
Because it's just like, Rob Deagles does it, and there's a bunch of the people on there. And we just like set up open mats, no gi throughout the week. I told everybody on the podcast last week, and I'll say it again. If you guys are listening to this podcast, you can come to Stronghold every Sunday or Wednesday and just train for free. I don't charge anybody for it, just to get some extra rolls and kind of have more people to train. So today we had a bunch of people. Normally Rob comes in and trains. Have you trained with him yet?
No, I haven't trained.
Oh,
with
I
him
would
yet.
love to see you guys compete. I keep saying I would love to see you and Rob compete. That would be such a fun match. And I wanted him to do the ADCC in December, but I think he had some other competitions that he was supposed to go to or whatever. But seeing you guys compete would be fucking fun. And he's really fun to train with too. But yeah, the scene's really growing, man. So Mujik, I want to ask you, how long have you been coaching now?
I started coaching, assistant instructor back in London at Jorge Gracie Academy, but being a full-time instructor literally since 2021.
What do you think about that? Like the differences in going from a student to changing the lens a little bit to being an instructor?
It can be quite intimidating, I think, at first, because it's an uncanny valley, or like something I haven't done before. So, but I'm getting used to it now, and I'm more comfortable teaching. And
it's different, right? Because you have to split your focus. You know, training is a bit selfish.
Yes.
Right? But
yes.
then when you have to start teaching, it's selfless. You have to prioritize your students over yourself. All that time you would spend training, you have to kind of like put and then think about them. How do you structure your training? Like how do you like your coaching? Like what do you prioritize? Do you do more rolling, more drilling? Do you do more like specific training? Flow? Like what's your go-to?
I try to keep it like quite balanced. So I give the students enough time to drill, and then we practice specific sparring, and then afterwards, of course, just do normal rounds as well. So maybe like 1/3 drills, 1/3 specific, 1/3 actual like normal rolling.
I heard from, I don't know if this is true, but this is just maybe Oz talking shit. Oz told me today that you don't really drill. You mostly spar.
For my own training, yes, I
you don't have to be shy. You don't have to be shy about it. No, Oz was just, I was telling him that, he's like, they were like, what are you doing later? And I was like, Mujik's coming on the podcast, and whatever reason, and we started talking. And he's like, he doesn't even drill. All he does is just roll and roll and roll and roll. It's the most fun, right?
It is, absolutely.
Is that, do you think tactically the best decision? Is it a fun thing, or is it just like you prefer to do that for skill development?
So I think, well, I realize now that you should definitely drill, which is very important to get the techniques in. But yeah, I don't know. Back in the UK, I was just doing a lot of classes, so that's when I got my drills in. But then the rest was just sparring and.
So, how many rolls do you think you do a week?
A week?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
If you had to you could give me a ballpark. You don't have to be.
Well,
if you had to guess, how many rounds you have of let's say, I don't know, 5-6 minutes, whatever.
Oh, I have no idea. I roll every day.
You roll every day.
Yes.
How many classes do you teach?
2-3 a day. 2-3 classes a day.
And you're rolling every class?
Yes.
So hour-long class, you're probably getting 3 or 4 rolls.
Yes.
3 times a day.
Yes.
So let's round it to 8 to 10 rolls a day. Is that right? Do you roll every class?
Yeah, I try to. If there's I'll try to roll in every class, and then outside of class, I also train myself, and then I'll also roll again.
What are you doing outside of training?
What do you mean?
Is it like fitness or more rolling or?
Mainly rolling. I try to do fitness stuff as well, but I rather do jiu-jitsu instead.
So when you do that, or is it like private training with other students? Like you just put it on group chats, people get together and you roll, or?
Yes.
The secret trainings. Everybody knows what's up with the secret trainings. Yeah, that's cool, man. No, I can see it when you train. Actually, one thing I was really impressed about with your match with Bruno is man, you guys were, both of you, the stand-up was super aggressive. You guys were snapping each other, trying to throw each other, single leg, double legs. You guys were all really, really aggressively fighting on the feet. And I think that's because you have a reputation for your guard passing. Because Bruno likes to pull guard. And then I was like, okay, he's wrestling a lot today. And I think it's because the word got around about making sure that people don't get put underneath you. So he was trying really, really hard. And you still managed to hit him with some takedown or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then once you got on top, it was fucking scary. What's your go-to move when you're on top? Do you have a... Because everybody talks to me about your passing. All the people that I've communicated with, it's a small community here in Singapore, right? So word gets around about people and their training and everything. And I consistently hear about your guard passing. So what's a system that you have, or a go-to pass? What's your...
A go-to pass?
Yeah.
Probably a knee slide pass. That'd be anything from headquarters position. Yeah. I would say is my passing style.
You prefer to pass on the feet?
Yes.
Just the mobility?
Yes.
What about half guard passing on the knees or something like that? Do you just pop up and then try to knee cut again from the feet?
Yes.
Yeah. I was that guy too. That's funny. So what about your girlfriend, man? I'm quite... Charmaine keeps asking me about her because I think she wants to train with her. Actually, we got to organize some kind of cross training thing. I was really impressed with her when I saw her compete. Is she competing as well this year? She just got a brown belt, right?
Yes,
recently.
Yeah, she just got a brown belt. We tried to make her compete in the last the SG International Open, but they just didn't have a opponent for her, so she didn't really compete. But she's really itching to compete. Actually,
is she doing the one in December?
The ADCC one?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
she's
nice. Doing that one.
Charmaine also wants to do, so maybe we'll see a fucking rematch. Let's do it. Charmaine was like, God, I hope she doesn't. I was like, what? Just fucking go in there, see what's up. It's fine. Does she do the no-gi as well as the gi?
Yes. Yeah,
she does both.
She's good at both as well.
Do you take modify your gi game to suit your no-gi game, or do you try and switch? So do you have a different style when you play gi and no-gi?
Yes.
What's how do you switch it?
So because in the gi I'll use more of course more grips. I try not to get stuck in any guard. Pass more on the outside. But in the no gi I'll maybe go through the guard more. Or even if I'm playing guard, I don't like to play outside like a regular Deli Hiva or something like that. Anything that involves me having my leg on the outside.
Is there any particular reason?
Just going back to the concept of inside position and keeping your feet on the inside, so your legs are not susceptible to leg locks.
I'm the same way. I'm not really an outside guard player. I don't play Deli Hiva. It actually hurts my knees.
Yes.
I feel like that that motion when you like try to get that De La Riva hook. I feel a pull. I got like bad MMA fighter knees, so I always feel like a tug on the outside of my knee. So even when I'm playing guard, it's always X guard, butterfly, single X, some foot has like inside position. That's the same thing. But then you get those guys who are really good at De La Riva, really good at outside guard. And if you don't have those guys in your gym, when you meet them in competition, it's like, Jesus Christ. You know, even my no-gi style or my gi style is very no-gi also, because I'm an MMA guy. So even when I put the gi on, I don't do spider guard, I don't do lasso, I don't berimbolo people, I don't do a lot of De La Riva. But then the problem is you go to the competition and you get the guys who are really good at that shit, and then you're like, fuck, and then they just wreck your students or they wreck you or whatever because they're so good at that, and you don't have the students who've got to that high level where they can really apply it. And then you realize, like, oh, man, when you go against some of those Brazilians who have a good spider guard or a good De La Riva, it's just like, shit, man, you get stuck there so bad. I don't know how to deal with it when you get like those specialists, especially those gi specialists. The berimbolo people, too. You get those De La Riva people that are really good at berimboloing. It's like, shit, man, I can't stop this thing. And then, but I don't want to teach it because it's fucking stupid. It's like, berimbolos suck, man. But they work really well in sport-specific gi jiu-jitsu. And you get those guys that are good at it. And it's just like, yeah, but do I want to prioritize the time to teach that? And I just can't. I can't have a guy like put his head right under my balls and backward fucking roll and then take my back somehow. I'm like, I understand what you did is cool, but I can't get on board with this.
I once got it was at Equilibrium, and a Brazilian guy had come in. I can't remember the guy's name, just for a visit sort of thing.
Yes.
And he got me in spider guard once, and I was there for like the entire roll. Could not go anywhere for 5 minutes. I woke up next morning, I literally had a footprint bruise on my bicep. I was like, yo, this is not for me. It was no fun at all whatsoever. But yeah, like, spider guard, I like it until you get stuck in it, and then you're like, this is no fun at all whatsoever.
It's also brutal in your hands.
Yeah.
Like gi, when you're doing open guard, if you're playing lasso, if you're playing spider, if you're playing like a De La Riva with the double sleeve control, man, by the end of that, I need to ice my fingers. It is just brutal. I walk out of there and I'm just like T-Rex hands, and I can't like close my fingers. And then you see like the meows and how their fingers are all jacked up, and they just have like a weird bone with this massive swelling at all of their joints. For sure, they're going to have massive arthritis when they're like 30.
Yang taught me spider guard, and like Yang's got a pretty good spider guard.
Yes.
And when I was first doing it, like all my hands are just cut along there every day and stuff like that until you get the calluses over it. And I swear, that's like, I can't play guitar as well as I used to from learning spider guard. And just like, oh, I've got arthritis in my fingers now. Brilliant.
I just let that stuff go. You get those other people like the Brazilians who like do not grip break. They will hold on to the grip until their fingers explode. I'm just like, I'll change, like people try to grip break, I'll pummel, change the grip or whatever. But you get those guys that hang on to those grips, and you will literally spend minutes there in a squat trying to just break a grip. It's so exhausting.
And then then the depressing part is you break the grip and they just instantly replace it. You're like, oh, all right, we're doing this again for 10 minutes, are we?
The strength of the forearms to just squeeze that shit the whole time. When did you start training? What got you into jiu-jitsu?
I started in like the start of 2011. I started watching the UFC.
Oh, you got into it through MMA?
Yeah,
Oh,
I did.
interesting.
I love MMA.
Oh, you do?
I do. Yes.
Okay, nice. You ever cross-train? You ever do any boxing, Muay Thai?
Yes. Well, initially when I first started back in the Netherlands, I was doing Muay Thai.
Oh, you started with that?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Are
you Dutch?
I'm Dutch. I'm Dutch. Yes.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yes. Yeah, and then the Muay Thai school that I was in, they expanded a little bit and they added jiu-jitsu and MMA, and so that's when I tried jiu-jitsu. And
do you still do any of the striking, or you just did jiu-jitsu and you're like, oh, jiu-jitsu is my thing?
I pretty much fell in love straight away.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. How long did you do the kickboxing before you started?
It's like 2 years.
Okay, that's enough to get like some decent experience.
Yeah, I would say my kicks are not that good anymore, but my hands are not too bad.
That Dutch style.
Yes.
They focus on like mostly the boxing and just slam one of those kicks there at the end of the combination. That was the first style that I learned was actually Dutch kickboxing, because I started training striking in Canada, and it was like a Boss Rutten affiliate. He's a Dutch guy.
Yes.
And they had that Dutch style, like 1-2 hook low kick, right? Like everything is like a punching combination, and then you slam a low kick or a body kick or something in there. And so that was like the first style that I did. That's interesting, though. I didn't know you ever consider dipping your toes back into the old striking?
Well, I've done some classes at Equilibrium, but no, I think for now I'll just stick with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're trying to compete.
Yes.
So this would be, how old are you?
I'm 29.
Oh, okay. I feel
be-
old. Jake,
I always feel old. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Now we're not too far different. But this is your first competitive year as like a black belt, or last year, I guess.
Yes.
But now you can actually travel and actually get up a proper
Yes.
tournament schedule. So are you going to try to do the Worlds or something maybe next year?
Yes.
What's the goal? Like Abu Dhabi? I mean, they have a great pro system there, and you can go to like the IBJJF Worlds. Do you have like a game plan?
Yeah, I would love to go to the Worlds. I just couldn't go this year because I didn't get the points. But then I went to the World Masters like a month ago, this month.
Oh wait, the IBJJF World Masters?
Yes.
Oh, you competed?
I did compete. Yes.
Oh right, how'd you do?
Lost quarterfinals.
Who did you compete against?
I don't know. The guy was a Brazilian guy. I lost 2 advantage.
Oh, okay. You don't remember the guy's name?
No, I don't know.
My old
his
coach just did that as well. Italo Lins. I don't know if you know him. He used to teach in Singapore.
name. I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's really fucking good. He just won the Abu Dhabi, or not the Abu Dhabi, the World Masters. Actually, I think it was last year too. That most recent one. Yeah, but some of those Brazilians, like, especially the Masters is no joke. Everybody thinks the Masters is like, oh, you're fucking over the hill. First of all, you're like 29. You're still completely in, like, premier, tip-top physicality for jiu-jitsu, right? You can still be totally in your prime until your late 30s. Even, you still see Cyborg doing these world championship competitions, Lovato, these guys that are touching 40 years old,
Yeah.
still totally in their prime. I feel like in jiu-jitsu, you can hit that in your mid to late 30s. So those World Masters tournaments are brutal. It was just an advantage that was the only score?
Yeah.
What do you know? What was it off of? A sweep or a
It was
pass or something?
double guard pull.
Uh-huh.
One was double guard, and then he almost took my back. He flipped me over, spun on my back, almost got it.
And that was it.
And that was it.
That's the thing. That's the thing with the gi that drives me fucking crazy is no gi is fluid, right? Like there's a lot of changing of positions. Gi, one small mistake and you are stuck. One advantage, people know, right? The Brazilians are masters at gaming the rules. So like, they'll like fake a little 30 seconds, oh, let me show a little pass and then I'm going to sit right back down. And then they have like a metronome in their head. They're like, tick, tick, tick. Oh, I'm about to get called for stalling. Let me show something really quick and settle right back down, right? They always do this. Everybody knows that they do it. And the rules, that's why it's so hard to watch though for me. Man, is the gi tough to watch. Because one advantage, one score, and you're going to see passivity followed by a little bit of a burst. Just enough to get so that the referee sees that you don't get a stalling penalty. Sometimes they'll just take it. They'll just take the penalty, right? And then they'll just burst and slow, and it's pretty tough. Which are probably considering it's sort of what happened.
Yes.
Do you play that game? Like you kind of have to, man. Honestly, like
You do kind of have to, but I'm not about that game. No.
not about that life. No, you're a pretty aggressive finisher. But even if you look at the percentage of finishes from something like the IBJJF Worlds to ADCC, it's just crazy. And it's crazy because there's so many more ways to finish in the gi. So the fact that the submission percentages are so much lower, and there's just so many more that go to decision or go to advantage or something, it just makes the gi just painful to watch. That's why I think more people are going to do no gi. It's way more exciting, way more fun. And I just can't. I can't stand to watch a 10-minute jiu-jitsu match and somebody win by advantage. Not somebody. It's like 80% of the field. It's just brutal to watch. Sometimes you see people go in and wreck the worlds in gi, but pretty rare.
It's not. It's very slow compared to no gi. It's just not anywhere near as exciting. And is Gordon Ryan a household name now? Like, or is it still we all know jiu-jitsu, so we know who he is? But like, he's getting to the point of being well known, especially in America, I think, and that's because no gi is so exciting and actually fun to watch, and like the ones doing it and stuff like that as well. They're putting on the grappling in the cage, and gi's just not there in terms of like entertainment value, in terms of production value, in terms of all those things. Like, it's still, if you're into jiu-jitsu, yeah, you still love the gi, but your casual fan, not so much.
It also begs the question: why is it that no-gi has this culture for submission only, for like finishing? Like, all of the organizations push it. Like EBI, they have the shootout system where you start on the back, you start with the arm bar. There's all these submission only tournaments. ADCC is trying to make. Where is all of that for gi? There's none of that. Where's the sub only gi? Where's any of the finishes in the gi? Like, the effort to push that forward. It just seems like it doesn't happen. I mean,
EBI overtime in the gi would be super exciting.
If you can bow and arrow somebody, or if you, come on, man, that would be sick.
I think they tried to do that with Metamoras.
Right, and it still sucked.
And yes.
Yeah. And then Brendan Swab showed up and was like, yeah, I'm just going to shut down Cyborg, at least fine, like, that's all I'm going to do.
That is totally, you're right. They tried to do that with Metamoras, and that shit flopped hard. You know what it is I think it ultimately comes down to, and tell me if you disagree, I think it comes down to the gripping. So much of gi, when you're in those like static positions, is simply grip fighting. It's trying to break grips, it's trying to get grips, and you're trying to be in as stable a position as possible. So let's say we're in the headquarters position. It's whatever the position that we're in, whether you're passing or whether you're playing guard, is just set around getting those grips. And you'll see like 3-4 minutes of somebody trying to break a grip. I'm sorry. I get it, because I've done gi for so many years, but it sucks. Terrible to watch, right? No-gi is so much more fluid with the gripping that you just don't have somebody sat there for 3, 4, 5 minutes trying to get a collar grip or whatever.
Yeah. But you can't, in gi, even like me, who's nowhere in the game sort of thing, but even I can be like, well, if I can, get this grip here and do this, I can take a rest for like 30 seconds to a minute before the guy figures it out. Whereas in no-gi, that you just can't do it. You're like, oh, well, maybe I can get like a 5-second breather if I can get to like mission control or something like that with rubber guard. But you can't stop, and it's just way more explosive and exciting and fast, I think, is the key to it.
Yeah. I don't know how you can save the gi, honestly. I don't know how you can... How can you make it more entertaining? I just don't think it's possible. The gi is fun. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. But the problem is competition gi brings out a very specific dynamic. Like, in the gym, like, I don't get those grips and hold. Even if it means I'm going to get my guard passed or whatever. I'll just give it up. Like, let's go. Like, because even it feels boring to me when I do it. Like when I roll with like some black belts and I'm stuck in this 3, 4, 5 minute long grip fight, I'm just like, sweep me. Can we move this thing along? I literally, what it's like to spend 5-6 minutes trying to pass someone's guard from like a headquarters, right?
Yes.
Maybe they've got a cross collar grip on you in a sleeve, and you're in the headquarters, and you're just spending all of this time trying to do this. Like, I'll just let sweep me. I'll give up these points. I'm never going to win a match like that. But God, is it boring to just sit there and do that?
Then that's the problem, that all the competitions then have the point system. So you can't be like, all right, let's make some action happen here. Like, if I let him pass, maybe I can get out of it. But you're giving up points, and then you're going to lose anyway on the time. So the rule sets they implement doesn't make it exciting and doesn't help either.
Yeah, I think also no-gi is way more conducive to flow. It's a lot more changing the position, moving, transitioning, because you don't have the grips to just stall somebody out. So that's why I think it's more fun. I have way more exchanges doing no-gi than I'd probably 10-1 than doing gi. Like, if I do a 6 or 7 minute roll in the gi, maybe we hit 2 or 3 positions. In no-gi, it's probably like 5-10x that. 10 times, 5 times that amount. So there's just so much more creativity, so much more flow, so much more, and that's what I'm looking to do. Because even in the gi, just people stop, and I'm like, guys, keep. Even if have you ever tried to tell your students to flow roll in the gi?
Yes.
Never works.
No. Doesn't.
It never works. What's your favorite like training tool as a competitor? Is it like flow rolling? You know what I mean? Is it specific training, drilling, just like free rolling? What is your favorite tool to use?
It will probably be specific training, because then you can really focus on specific aspect of the game. Maybe it's passing, maybe it's defending, maybe it's scoring first point or something like that.
What's do you have like a opinion on some part of people's game that's like underrated? Like what are people not doing enough of? I would say it's wrestling. It's always wrestling for me. That's like the number one answer I'll consistently give, is that it's probably wrestling. Do you have like what do you think as a coach now?
Yes.
Do you see an area that just generally needs more attention in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, wrestling. Funny you say this, because since the last tournament, that's exactly what I was thinking. So this week we've been practicing a lot of takedowns. A lot of people have been rolling their ankles. And
rolling their ankles?
Yeah.
That's not good.
That's not good at all. But but then it's like, how do you train takedowns if you don't want to get, I don't know, like.
Well, because falling body weight is the most dangerous part of training, right? That's where
Yes.
most injuries. So that's why the judo people spend 20 minutes at class break falling. Wrestlers do something very similar, right? Spinning all. Because it's like the resistance is where the problem comes. Like I tell my students, if you know you're going down, just go down. Don't like fight when you're already halfway down, spending all that time fighting, and you land weird, and then you end up in some crazy position with a blown out knee or whatever.
Yes.
You know what actually happens a lot too is Muay Thai. Muay Thai, it happens a lot. Because in Muay Thai, you can trip each other all the time. And Muay Thai people don't break fall.
I've never once done a break fall in a Muay Thai class. Like, I've never seen anyone do a break fall in a Muay Thai class. You're like, you know you can get swept though, yeah?
You can throw people like crazy in Muay Thai. I mean, you can trip them, you can throw them, you can dump them, you can body lock throw them, you can do all of that stuff. And these people have no idea how to fall. You know how many like arms I've seen people reaching back and stuff because they don't spend that time at the beginning of the class falling. Knowing how to fall, I don't know how many times we've said it on this podcast, Jake. This is episode 75. So we've probably said it 300 times. I mean, at least. Who knows? Probably double. But learning how to fall is super important, even for, like, if there's a skill that you can have into your old age, is break falling. My mom fell when she was 62, I think. She fell. And did that thing, you know, you fall and you just instinctively, like, she just tripped over a road, you know, where you're on the street and then it pops up and then and she tripped, boom, destroyed her whole arm, had to get pins installed and, like, had to have surgery and all this kind of stuff. And you just think when you've trained yourself over and over to just be like, shoop, and just slip and break fall, man, that is massively overrated because people really get hurt falling.
Yeah. A
lot. And if your body's instinctively knows how to do that, you could mitigate a lot of damage. I do it all the time, even when I'm just like, I'll lay in bed and I'll just be like, shoop. I'll get up and do like a technical stand-up. It's so in my body that I'll literally wake up in the morning and I'll just be sleeping. And I'll sit up and I'll just like put my hand on the mat and do a fucking technical stand-up just to get out of bed. I'm like, oh God, that's how you know I'm getting old. I can't even just use my body to stand up anymore.
It's a crazy skill though, like break falling, because somehow eventually it just works. Like, I came off a skateboard a few months back and just automatically, like not done jiu-jitsu for a while, just break fall, got straight up off the floor. My wife's like, oh, you okay? I'm like, yeah, break falls.
I break fall, no worries, babe.
Yeah, really, really manly.
I'm going to live to fight another day.
Yeah. No, she was like, stop skateboarding, you're 42, you're an idiot.
Yeah, you're probably reaching that age. But all you got to tell her is, yeah, but I broke fall.
Yeah, but I didn't get hurt. This is my point.
Did you, you competed over the weekend too, right?
Yes.
Last weekend at the, what competition was that? What was that one called?
It was the Singapore International Open.
Yes. Dude, they all... In
all
my head,
start to
they
sound
all
the same.
just morph and coagulate and everything. How was that like? I wasn't there to actually catch your match. I was coaching all the kids and everything like that. How'd that go?
It was good. I won the match. I was really hunting for the submission, but unfortunately I didn't get it. But
Who did you compete against?
with Abang Sayef
Oh, right.
from
Yes,
Malaysia.
that's right. Yeah, I know him. Is he a black belt or a brown belt now?
He's a brown belt.
That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He's been in the scene in Malaysia for a while. I used to teach in Malaysia.
Oh, okay.
Like 3 years ago, before we came back to Singapore, my wife and I were in KL and we were teaching at Clinch, a gym that was there. And then we came back to Singapore, but same thing. You know, the community's pretty small. You start to see all these people over and over again. I love the Malaysians, though. Man, the Malaysians are feisty. They
Yes.
really are.
Yes.
They roll so hard. Like, Singapore is... people roll hard here, too, but it's a little bit more technical. The Malaysians are gritty, though. They are gritty. They will fight hard to the bitter end. They have no issue just, like, going hard. They're after tone people down, right? Like, you see people, you're like, guys, fucking settle down. You're going to kill each other. Here, I got to bring people up, usually. I got to be like, okay, I want you to flow and everything, but you got to also take it up a notch, right? Up the aggressiveness a little bit. Not in Malaysia, man. Those guys are really, really aggressive. Oh, man. So, you have November, you're going to Abu Dhabi. Have you signed up for that already?
Not yet.
You still have to do.
I'll do it ASAP.
Do you know how many people are going to be there for that?
No, I haven't checked anything.
I also saw that the ADCC in December is already, some of it already set. You're in there.
Yes.
Oz is in there.
Yes.
There's a couple. Raul? Is Raul in there?
I'm not sure.
I think he might be. Have you trained with him yet?
Yes.
Super nice guy.
Super nice
Strong
guy.
as fuck.
Wow.
You're like,
Huge.
what the shit is this? He used to be a featherweight, man, in one. He used to be 66 kilos. Look at that motherfucker now. How does he even make weight in one? I'm not trying to talk shit, one, but I don't know how Raul passes that goddamn hydration test. Because he came into the gym today, and that motherfucker looks like he's about 6 feet tall and just as wide. And I'm just like, and he's like, hey, you want to roll? And I'm like, no. No, I don't want to roll with you, man. No, I didn't say that. Obviously, didn't say that. I had to go to get here, but right as I was about to leave, he's like, oh, man, can we get in a roll? I was like, sorry, I'm already running late. I got to meet Mujik or whatever. But such a sweet guy. Really, really nice guy.
Yes.
I got it. I need another beer. Jake, can you hold this thing down?
Can.
You know, Mujik? Get in there, bro.
Yes, please.
All right.
Oh,
Nice.
thank you.
So what do you think about Singapore, man? Are you here to stay? Is this a long-term commitment for you guys, or you're kind of just going to see how? Or
We'll just see how first. But if it's a long term, I would like to stay in Singapore.
Singapore's pretty sweet, right?
Yeah, it's really nice.
I love it here. I genuinely love it here.
Yeah.
You were born in the Netherlands?
No, I was born in Mongolia.
I fucking knew it. I'm sorry. I don't want to be that guy, but your name. I was like, that's a Mongolian name. So you were born there, and when did you move to the Netherlands?
I moved there when I was 5 years old. Then and then I was there until I was 20 years old.
In the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands, yes.
And then you went to the
UK.
To UK.
Yes.
Do you have family still in Mongolia? Do you go
yes.
back?
Yeah, I'm like, pretty much all my family is still there. Only my direct family, my mom, my sisters, they're still in. My dad's still in the Netherlands.
So your family just immigrated to the Netherlands from Mongolia when you were a kid?
Yes.
Wait, so sorry, who's there still in Mongolia?
My
Grandparents?
parents. My parents and my siblings.
Do you make it back still
Yes.
to visit?
Yes.
Is it like the capital? Where do they stay?
Well,
Or is it like one of the smaller villages?
This is one of the smaller villages. Like it's tiny village, maybe 10,000 people.
Oh, okay. Well, that's like where I grew up, about
Yeah.
the same size. I'm American, and people don't realize it, but I grew up in a very, very, very rural part of it. I'm from West Virginia. I don't know if you ever heard of it,
I've heard of it.
but there's just, dude, there's nothing there but like fucking heroin addicts and like, no, I'm just joking. It's very rural though, small town. The biggest city I think in my state is like maybe 20 or 30. That's the biggest city, like 20, 30,000 people. It might be 50. But really, really small town life. Nothing to do. What made your parents relocate? Was it a job or?
It was a job. My mom, she got a job in a circus, so then she moved first.
In the circus?
Yes.
Oh, doing what?
Being acrobat.
Really?
Yes.
God damn. I was like, you said that, and I sat here for a second, and I was like, wait, what? Did you say the circus? That's interesting. So she's like an acrobat.
Yes.
What did she do? Did she do like the rings, or did she do?
She was doing the trapeze, like all kind of different acts. And then afterwards, me and my dad, we moved to Europe as well. And then he was doing also acts with her.
That is super interesting. Circus. Wow, man, that is crazy. So that's probably why were you in sports from the time that you were young? Like,
I was like always been like quite athletic since I was young.
Would they keep you around when they were working? Would you see
Yes.
the sort of athletic feats that they would do? And I mean, if your parents do that, you must be in the scene a little bit and being exposed to everything.
So my parents, they were both professional gymnasts back in Mongolia. So I guess I got the sort of a bit of their genetics.
Yeah, you got the
So
athletic
then-
genes.
Yeah, you could say that. So then I wasn't really into gymnastics. I wasn't really into the circus life or whatever. But I was always like quite athletic.
So when you guys moved to the Netherlands, were they still doing the same thing there? Or did they switch careers when they moved to Europe?
Yeah, when they moved, they switched the careers.
Oh, man, that's fucking fascinating. What did they switch to?
They were circus artists.
Oh, still when you guys moved to the Netherlands.
So when we first moved to the Netherlands, that's when they became circus performers.
Oh, so it wasn't in Mongolia. So what were they doing in Mongolia where they had those skills already?
They were professional gymnasts.
Oh, okay, I see. So in Mongolia they were gymnasts, and then
Yes.
when they moved to the Netherlands, they started working with circuses.
Yes.
That is fucking awesome. Also, probably the most transferable skill for martial arts of any like athletic. I think gymnasts probably have the most universal athleticism of anything that you can do. Like that is universal athleticism. If you want to throw a baseball, if you want to do jiu-jitsu, if you want to do a jumping sport, a dribbling sport, a ball sport, a combat sport, gymnastics gives you the most like control of your body that I've ever seen. And so I feel like those guys are always like dangerous. When you get those, I have a guy, he's in Australia now. His name's Sil. But he was one of those guys that he trained at a gymnastics place here in Singapore. He could do the tucks and all the thing. This motherfucker is just so strong for his size. And because they're so in tune with their body, they have so much control. They can do the handstands, they can walk on the hands. They're very generally flexible too. They can do the splits and all that kind of stuff. When you teach them a move, they can just do it instantly because the coordination is so high. Right, like their ability to coordinate their body is so sophisticated. Sometimes I'll get people who don't have the same level of coordination, and I'll be like, "Take your right hand, and then grab their left foot," and I'll see the math problem going in their fucking head as I'm like, I see all the numbers fly by as they're like trying to think right hand, left foot. But then you get the people that have really, really strong coordination, like the gymnasts, and there's other things that can do it, but I think gymnasts are the best. And when you tell them to do something, their body just instantly does it. So there's no troubleshooting phase. They just so coordinated. They can just do it. And they're so athletic that they can do it. I think it's the most universal thing. If I was going to put my kids in anything to make them better at martial arts, which, let's be real, if I have kids, they're going to fucking train, right? Yes. Let's be real. That's what they're going to do. This is the family business. You're going to do it. I put them in gymnastics before I'd put them in anything.
Absolutely.
It's just universal. Like, you're going to do that. Jumping, running, sprinting, stretching, walk, like anything, that shit applies.
I'm always jealous when I see like kids who've done gymnastics for ages. They're so coordinated compared to my kids, or like my kids like fall over their own feet and stuff like that. And then you see this gymnast kids like flipping in the air and doing all this fancy stuff. You're like, oh, that's amazing. I wish I could be bothered to take my kids to gymnastics, but I really can't. Well,
here's the difference, right? Like, let's take jiu-jitsu, for example. Let's say you start a 5-year-old, right? Like, that's when we start our kids at Stronghold. Let's say you take a 5-year-old and you put them in jiu-jitsu 3 to 5 years. They're going to develop athleticism for sure, but it's going to be sport-specific athleticism. So, and you see this a lot, let's say in MMA. Like, why is it that the jiu-jitsu people that have started, like, let's take someone like Mackenzie Dern, for example. There's plenty others, right? But we use her as an example. She's not the best example. Maybe Ben Askren. Let's take Ben Askren for an example, right? Super strong wrestler, won the Hodge Trophy, right? Amazing wrestler. Cannot absorb striking. Like, just his... And partly it's his body type. and partly it's his genes, and he doesn't have a super fast twitch body, which is why he's got like the fucking dad bod, right? But you can take a kid who starts in grappling martial arts from the time that they're 5 and take that 10 years. So they're presumably athletic. They're presumably like should be able to do a lot of stuff. But then you introduce them to sports that require different types of athleticism, and it doesn't translate the same way. If you take a gymnast, you can put them in any sport and they're going to be able to do it because it's universal athleticism. When you're holding one of those poses, right? You're like isometric strength is like a squeezing, holding, like static strength. Right? And then you also have movements that are like fast twitch where they're fucking clearing their legs and they're swinging on the ropes or doing the rings. When they do the rings, they're holding. It's static, but they're also start to roll and kick through, which is an explosive act. And when you have both of those, both types of athleticism, those are the dangerous people. Those are the people that have universal athleticism. You can put them in boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. They have the ability to have that isometric squeeze, and they also have the ability to have that fast twitch, pop, pop, pop. You know, that you can't get when you're used to like Gordon Ryan, probably not going to be a boxer. Because he's that fucking gorilla who can squeeze you and just isolate you and has that great isometric strength. But if you watch him hit the pads, it's pretty rough. Like you can tell he's a slow twitch guy, which is very specific to jiu-jitsu, and it's strong in that context. But those gymnasts have it all. Like they have the full package. That's universal athleticism.
When you walk into like the first ever Muay Thai class and just head kick like the bag and stuff like that, you're like, oh god damn it, I can't do that. It's not fair. I've been doing this ages.
Because they're flexible.
Yep.
They're strong.
Power. It's like,
and they have strength in those weird ranges of motion. Right? They have strength in those weird. Because they're so flexible, they have strength in those weird angles where they can be in a split and still have strength to come down. Like most people can't even reach that, but to have the strength at the ends of those ranges of motion is extremely difficult. Like, and that's I think what a lot of jiu-jitsu people lack is strength in those weird ranges of motion. I don't know, but that's crazy. Do your parents still do stuff like that? Are they still?
No, they're retired.
Are they still fit? Like, do they still do?
No.
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 Hey, you've been doing that for so long. You can take a break. So they would do when they were in the circus. Like, what would they do? What was their act?
Like they would come up with like different acts every year. But
Did they work together? Like it was a husband and wife thing?
Yes.
Oh man,
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's the family business.
Yeah, it was
in some sense, right?
Oh yeah, it was the family business. You could say that. Yeah, they were doing all kinds of different stuff. My mom was doing the trapeze. She was doing like balancing on those like cylinder thing, and you put a board on top, and you like balance yourself on top, and then
yeah, I know the ones you mean.
yeah. They're like those kind of things, and then she'd like stack things on top, and she'd like go higher and higher, and like, do like a jump on top, jump rope on top of it, and like do all kinds of crazy stuff. So yeah, and
What a trip, man! To go from Mongolia gymnastics to the Netherlands doing circus acts to then, you're here in Singapore, like competing professionally in jiu-jitsu and teaching at Equilibrium. What a trip! Have they been here yet?
yes, my mom, she came here in January.
What do they think about Singapore?
Oh, they loved it. Yeah, it was great.
Have they ever been?
No, they never been.
It's pretty crazy to see when you've never been here, right?
Yes.
You don't really understand. Like, I didn't understand Singapore when I first moved here. I remember I used to be a teacher. I was a school teacher first. I taught at the Korean International School, and I taught at the Chinese International School in Singapore, and I was always training. And then, but while I was working, I would train, and then the opportunity came up to switch careers and start doing martial arts and stuff. But I remember first moving to Singapore. I'm also curious in a second, Jake, about your story about hearing about Singapore. You're British, so you probably have a slightly different perspective. But for me, I remember when I first heard about the job offer to move here, I was like, Singapore, where the fuck is that? I had no idea where it was. I knew it was somewhere in Asia. I actually thought it was like Australia-ish, right? Because I'm American, dude. I don't know shit. Okay, I elected Donald Trump as the president of my country. Okay, what do I know about Singapore?
I can beat you.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. So let me finish this, and then I'll ask you the same thing. And then I remember Googling Singapore because this job opportunity came up, and I was like, all right, let me see what's up. And I remember looking at the pictures of Singapore, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This place exists. It's its own little city-state. And I was only interested in the martial arts. So the first thing that I did was like Google the city and then look like MMA, right? Because I was a teacher at a school, but realistically, like martial arts, MMA was my dream. So like first thing I did was just look it up, and then I found out about Evolve, and I found out about One, and everything. And I was like, oh shit, there's like a growing MMA scene here. There's like a MMA promotion here. Evolve was like huge at the time, and I sent everybody a message. And then I remember taking the cab ride from the airport to where I was staying, and I was looking around, and I was like, holy shit, I have never seen a place like this. I was coming from New York City, and I thought like New York City is like one of the capitals of the world, right? This must be the cutting edge of what cities can be. And then I came here and I was like, oh, Singapore dunks on fucking New York. Easy. New York's disgusting. I love New York, but it's fucking nasty. There's roaches and fucking crackheads and like rats, and like it's dirty, and it can be ghetto as fuck. And there's like really bad ghettos and homelessness and everything. And from my American perspective, I was like, oh, New York City. It's like, I understand it's got its things, but it's still like, you know, cutting edge in terms of like global cities. And it is in some respects. But then I came here and I was like, oh shit. Like, this is a completely different animal. Everything was clean. There's like millionaires and money and nice living and no homeless crackheads trying to fucking punch you for like a McNugget, right? Like, whatever the thing is.
No open drug scene. No,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And this is like Southeast Asia, which to me I thought was like a relatively impoverished area of like the world, right? And after looking at it, I was like, oh, okay, I don't know shit about the world, right? So Jake, what's your story, man?
So the first time I came here, I was living in Delhi, and I got sent here on a training course. And again, I moved to India and didn't know it was in Asia. That's how good I am at geography. And then I rock up here and I announce to a room full of people at this training course I'm on, oh, I'm so excited to be here. I've never been in the Southern Hemisphere before. And everyone's like, the fuck, he's not in the Southern Hemisphere now, you idiot. But yeah, it was pretty much like a trip. Was it your first time here when you moved here?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
actually, no, it was the first time I visited in 2019. That was my first time in Singapore.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I'd been here once before on a training course, and my wife, who's English, she actually grew up here.
Oh, okay.
So like, it's super weird for her because as far as she's concerned, it's
This
like
is
her
home.
it's her childhood home, and yeah, it's really weird. But the first time I came here, and then same, you know, wanting to work out where to train, and Equilibrium was right across the road from where I was working, so that's how I know Yang and everyone. Because straight away I came over and joined up there. But I joined. Well, did you come when it used to be in Scape? Did you see it then?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when I came here.
But when I first started training there, it was in Scape, but it was in an even smaller one than the one they'd had. It was crazy. You couldn't run Muay Thai and BJJ classes at the same time,
Yes.
so they had to split the two. But it was still like, yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Sorry, cut to you. But then, so then you met Yang here.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yang's a good guy. He's
He's an awesome guy.
we need to get him on just to find out what happened in Vegas. As it were, because he was in Vegas when he was just got back.
Yes, I think he went to. Where was the UFC? I think it was San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got my mate. It was Vegas,
then-
but I guess not.
And then he did go to Vegas to watch the ADCC.
Oh, he did? Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
Did you watch the Song Yudong fight? Have you met him? Have you met any
I've
of
met
those?
Song Yudong,
Equilibri-
yeah.
Yeah, because Zhang Weili also was back in the day. I heard they had
Yeah.
some kind of split or whatever. But
Yeah. I
did
saw
you catch that fight, the Song
Yes.
Yudong fight?
Yes.
That was rough, hey? God, that cut
Oh,
was
man.
brutal. That cut was brutal. I don't know if you can pull it up, Jake, if it's possible. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen it. If it's hard, don't worry about it. If it's easy, then you can. If not, no worries. But, man, that fight was razor close also. Song
Yes.
Yudong is a fucking beast.
Oh my
He's
God.
going to be a champion. I have very little doubt that guy will be a champion. Because some of the cuts on that fight card were brutal. That one, and then there was another guy. What was that? Rodriguez? Did you see that?
Yes. I think-
Looked like a vagina
Yeah.
opened up on his forehead. I mean, it was brutal,
yeah,
man.
That was a bad cut.
Oh, yeah.
was a bad
Oh,
cut.
dude.
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit. Look at that.
Wait, I gotta.
God damn. If you're listening to this podcast, go and look at Song Yadong's head.
Can't zoom in on it from here.
That's okay. I mean, you can see it pretty fucking clear here. God, dog, that is brutal.
Yeah,
Look at
that's
that.
a big one.
Man, I've never seen, and it's in the worst possible spot, right on the eyebrow, splitting down his head. And Corey Sandhagen is a bad motherfucker, and that fight was razor close. That was a razor close fight. If Song had won that fight, he probably would have challenged next for the title. And I don't think he's going to lose any credit. Like, I don't think he's going to go down in the queue. Technically, he lost, but he would not have stopped fighting if they didn't stop that fight. He would have kept going. He's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Man, what a bad motherfucker Song Yadong is.
Cuts like that are a weird one because, like, yeah, you take a loss and you take the hit from the loss, but no one's like, you got knocked out or like you got beat. It's just like, no, your head split open and you couldn't see. You probably needed to stop fighting.
Although, to be fair, Sandhagen's elbow was, I mean, that you got to give Sandhagen credit.
Yeah.
That up elbow, boom, hit him right as he was coming in.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Gashed him.
People don't take it the same way they take like a submission or a knockout or something like that. It's like, yeah, you got cut. It's fine.
No, that's why, and no disrespect to you, BJJ people, you know I love you, but that's why from MMA context, you don't give a shit about fighting grapplers. You don't care. You really don't care. Like, if I'm taking an MMA fight and I find out that it's like a grappler, I'm just like, whatever. Worst case scenario, you get choked or armbarred, you tap out. When you fight a scary striker, you're not sleeping at night. You're like, oh, fuck, this is going to be brutal, right? It's going to be brutal. Doesn't mean that it can't be brutal if you're dealing with a grappler or whatever. Come on in, don't be shy. Come on in. Don't be shy. Charmaine just dipped her head in here. That's okay. Come on in. We're chilling. That's okay. No worries. You're good. Steven's coming also soon.
My favourite one in MMA is sometimes when you get like a really good grappler versus a really good grappler and they decide to have the worst kickboxing bout ever.
Those are
for
rough.
fuck's sake, grapple, you idiots.
Like watching Rodolfo fight in the UFC, I'm just like, oh man. He's one of the toughest to watch because I was GF team before. Have you seen him fight in the UFC?
I've seen, yes.
I love your tone. Like, I've seen it. Yeah, it can be pretty rough. It's just different. It's just different when you try to apply your BJJ, and he's got to learn how to strike. That's really important. But one, his wrestling is not super great. His efficiency is not super great. It would be interesting to see how Buchecha does. But he's had so much of an easier road than Rodolfo because, you know, Buchecha's getting whoever in one. Like, and he doesn't deserve, like, any crazy... He's new, right? He's only had 3 fights or whatever. But I think that Rodolfo signed with the UFC after, like, 6 fights. And then all of a sudden, he's in the UFC. And that's pretty rough because you can see him struggling with the strikers. He's struggling to get takedowns. I don't know why he doesn't pull guard, honestly. Like, sometimes. If if Rodolfo Vieira is in a kickboxing match, why don't we consult the guard pulling gods just to see what's up? Yeah, who's your favorite MMA fighter? Because it's interesting that you are a huge MMA fan and started kickboxing.
Yes. Well,
do you have favorites?
I don't really have favorites. I just like a lot of people, but I guess Khabib. I like Khabib.
Yeah, who doesn't? Man, we nut ride Khabib so hard on this podcast. Like, I got a Khabib shirt. Like, we've had so many podcasts about Sambo and all of that. What about? Okay, I'll put you on this. What about Islam and Charles Oliveira?
Well, I have to stick with my jiu-jitsu buddies.
You're gonna go Charles Oliveira?
Yes.
Do you think he will win, or you're pulling for him?
I'm pulling for him. Yes.
Who do you think will win?
I feel like Charles Oliveira's just submission game is better, and his striking is better.
I would agree with that. Do you think he can submit Islam though? It's the wrestling is going to be the question, right?
Yes.
The wrestling and the submission defense, because if Islam can pass Charles Oliveira's guard, you know, if he can get to the side control or get to the back or something, like that's going to be a fucking problem. But if Charles Oliveira gets on top, that could be equally a problem. I don't know, man. This is one of the ones I really have, like my analytic brain is telling me that Islam because of the wrestling, like for sure Oliveira gets taken down sometimes.
Yes.
And Islam's like those guys, their jiu-jitsu is so good. Their submission defense is so good. Have any of those Dagestani guys been submitted ever? I can't think of a single time that team has ever lost by submission.
Can't think of
No,
one.
I don't think so.
I mean, all of those Dagestani guys, like Usman Nurmagomedov, obviously Khabib, you got Islam, you got... Who's the other big... name's right on the tip of my tongue. The other guy that trains with Khabib that's in the UFC.
Try and find out.
Yeah.
On the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I can't think of a single time any of those guys have ever been submitted. Granted, Charles Oliveira is the king of submissions, so there's a different level there. But I just can't imagine that Charles Oliveira submits Islam. Like, God.
Yeah,
What
but
a
I can
compelling
imagine
fight.
him beating him on the feet.
I can't imagine
Yeah, I
him
can
getting
imagine
on
him
the feet.
knocking out, not submission, but I can see the fight getting stopped on the feet.
You know, but it's just there have been a few people, not in a long time, but there have been a few people that have been able to take Oliveira down, hold him, wrestle fuck him. You know, like Paul Felder smashed him in the guard with the elbows, knocked him out. That was a long time ago.
Different Charles Oliveira.
Totally different Charles Oliveira. But God, that's a compelling fight. That is a fucking good fight. But you still got to think, oh, if Khabib was there. If Khabib was there, this might be a different story. So your heart's pulling for Charles Oliveira.
Yes.
What, can you pull up that card, Jake? It's this weekend, right?
No, I think it's further away than
Next
that.
weekend?
I think. Let's see.
Maybe it's next weekend. There's one this weekend. There's like two or three one championships this weekend. So hopefully I'm judging. I haven't heard yet, but hopefully I'm judging the one this weekend. Tiffany Teo, my girl. Have you met Tiff?
Yes, I've had.
She's fucking awesome. I love her. Tiff and Kaishong, they're fucking amazing. So Tiff is fighting Ritu from Evolve this weekend.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And then Tawan Chai is fighting this weekend. We could probably pull the one card up too.
We can try. He's not. It's Mackenzie Dern fight night this weekend.
Oh,
for
that's
UFC.
Is that the main event?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. She's getting better. Mackenzie Dern's getting a lot better. She's looked pretty good lately.
Is it
Oh
that
yeah,
159?
DeRitter versus Big Dash. Fuck, that's a good fight. No, the one this weekend is legit. The one this weekend is really, really good. And I love it because when it's mostly Muay Thai, I just get to sit there and watch. I have the best seat in the house. When it's MMA or Jiu Jitsu, I have to judge. So I'm like really focused and trying not to ruin everything, right? I'm just trying to do my best job. But when it's the Muay Thai and the kickboxing, I just get the best seat in the house and I just get to sit there and like freak out when crazy shit happens. It's the best. Renier de Ridder, fellow Dutchman. Have you seen him fight?
Yes.
He's
Wait, am I
amazing.
He's amazing.
He is fucking amazing.
Am I going crazy? It's got the results on it.
Oh.
Look,
Did this happen
DeRitter
already?
win.
Oh no, is it a delayed?
Have we just ruined it?
I don't know if we can show this. Is that a mistake?
I don't know. Look, it's literally got the results
What's the date? Can you
written on it.
what's the date?
But I'm sure it said it was in the. Maybe we've travelled in time.
Wait, hold on. Is this the
This is the only explanation.
Wait,
No,
July?
Oh, that's
July.
why.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I pulled it wrong. Well, that's on one because I can't see the screen.
You know
I
what?
can't see the screen properly.
Also, you know what's hilarious? I was there and I had no idea. I was fucking there. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? Yeah, the upcoming. If you go to the events, Tawan Chai,
Yeah,
that one.
29,
That's the
sorry.
one. Pet Morcott and Tawan Chai. Fuck, that's a good fight. God damn, that's a good fight.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Man, that is a good fight. 3 days. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So we got Pet Morcott versus Tawan Chai. That is a banger. Fuck, that is a good fight. 2 world champions, 2 legends. Man, that is a really, really good fight in the main event. Then we got Krillika and who's the
Innocente.
I don't know him. Go down a little bit. Let's see who else we got here. Okay, Zhang Peng,
There you go.
Ritu, and
Ritu,
Tiffany
Tiff.
Teo. Man, that's the one I'm excited for. Tiffany Teo is basically just the butcher of the Evolve women atomweight division. Oh, she was strawweight before. Did she? She changed for this one.
Yeah, she's changed weight.
Can you double confirm that so I'm not speaking
No,
out of my
I'm
ass?
90%, 99%.
Me too.
certain we
She
have,
was up a weight class before, but she was just the fucking like headsman, just the butcher of the previous division. Every time there'd be a contender, Tiffany would just chop him down. She had those rough fights with Panda, which we've discussed on this fight.
Ad
this
nauseum
podcast.
discussed how she won that
Ad
fight.
nauseum. But that is going to be a good fight. And go down a little bit.
There's the undercard.
Okay. All right, and then there's actually two. Can you go to the next one? Because there's another one that's on Thursday. There's also another one on Saturday.
October 1st, 8 a.m. though.
That's one on Prime 2.
Yeah.
This is the big one. This is Angela Lee versus Panda again. This is the third fight. God, this is going to be good. I really hope I'm judging that fight. And then Super Bond versus, I can't see it. Can you see it?
Typhoon, Ozcam, Turkey, Netherlands.
Okay. Super Bond's back. Mikey Musumeci and Kleber Souza. I don't know. I just don't see anybody beating Mikey. What's your opinion on Mikey, man?
Oh, it's incredible. Incredible. He's he's the best.
You could just yank that thing up if it's too low.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Get in there. Have you trained with him yet?
No, I would love to.
I mean, he's in Singapore. We got to sort that out, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like everybody needs to sort it out. But Evolve is weird about training with other people.
Yes.
They're better, though, actually, recently, because they did that open mat. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I saw that.
They didn't used to do that stuff at all. So it makes me think that they're getting a little bit more open with training with people in the scene. And I should just message them, because I have this like group chat of the American instructors in Singapore. There's only like 3 or 4 of us, the black belts or whatever. They're American.
Yes.
And I got to get a hold of that guy, because I think he would totally be down to train. It's just that Evolve's weird about that stuff.
I've spoken to him, or I went to Evolve with Jason Hunt, and we spoke with him briefly, and I think it was something about the issue that.
Yeah, that's what's weird about it, and it kind of bums me out, because like I work for Chaudhry in some sense. I used to train at Evolve also. I spent 2 years at Evolve. I just wish we could do that, but I don't know if I don't know, maybe we just do it on the DL and try to message. I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble.
The word is out now.
I don't know what the fucking rules are. I just want to train with this dude. Yeah, but he's competing against Kleber Souza. That should be a good fight, but Mikey's just on the next level. Stamp and Radzuan. Ooh, that's a good fight. That should be an interesting fight. And Martin Nguyen. God damn, that's a good card. Martin Nguyen's on that card. Timothy Nastyukin also. God, man, that one on Prime 2 card is legit. Go down a little further. Marat is also on this card.
Yeah.
Who else have we got? Damn, this is a banger. I saw this. I just haven't looked at it in a while. Man, that is a good card. If you're looking for some good MMA this weekend, this is way better than the UFC.
Yeah, way better.
This is way better than the
UFC
UFC card.
weekend.
Yeah. So if you're looking for some MMA on this weekend, you got 2 1 cards. One on Thursday, one on Saturday. Mikey Musumeci, Angela Lee, Panda, Marat, Timothy Nastyukin. Fuck, that's a good card. Nice. And when is the big UFC? Is it next weekend?
No, it's a while away, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because you got Dern versus Jan, Caruso versus... I can't see that, no, it's too far away. So 280's... It's got a date on it?
280, that's the one, right?
23rd of October.
23rd. Okay, we still got a few weeks. Oh, I still can't stop thinking about that. Though.
Oh, I've just seen it as well. Like, Dillashaw's back.
Yeah.
See what's up there.
Yeah, Dillashaw and Aljo. Who do you think wins that one? What do you think, Muujig?
Ooh, I think Dillashaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think about the age, though? Can Aljamain Sterling get a little respect from you motherfuckers? Can he get a little respect?
When he won the belt for the first time, I stuck up for him on this podcast saying he was still in that fight. I'm not shitting on him, but like TJ Dillashaw could have been a little bit of like, well, Daddy's home now, so you're all getting it.
Yeah, but then if you think about that Sandhagen fight, the most recent one, man, that was a close fight. Like, I think Aljo doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah.
Aljo fucked up Corey Sandhagen. He
Yeah.
took his back, choked him out in like 2 minutes or something. And then to beat Piotr Jan, that is crazy. We also have Jan and O'Malley.
Yep.
Which, I don't even know what to think. I mean, I know what to think. My instinct is that like Piotr Jan is going to fucking smash Sean O'Malley. That's my instinct. But who knows?
Yeah, but
I feel like I know.
I do.
Piotr Jan's going to smash O'Malley.
I agree with you, except O'Malley does have the touch of death as well. Like, if he hits someone, he does have that one shot finishing power. So if you can line it up and set it up, then he's got a chance.
But I think Piotr Jan's defense is too good. He almost never gets hit. Like, even in that fight with Aljo, all he did was, like, Aljo took him down, like, and took his back for, like, a minute. Like, he was never in any threat. I can't even... He's never been dropped in the UFC. He's never been hurt. I don't think I've ever seen him cut.
No.
He's one of the... These Russians, I don't know what the fuck they're built. Khabib, never saw him cut. Never saw him hurt. He got like a little staggered one time because he got fucking hit by a killer. I guess Michael Johnson tagged him.
Yeah.
I think Gaethje like hit him a couple times. But they don't even look. Fedor, like these guys don't even wear the damage. What the fuck are they putting in the water in Russia, man? Like I don't understand how these guys can look like that. Have you had any Russian students yet?
Yes.
Are they equally crazy?
No.
Really?
Yeah,
Mine are the
quite-
best. I love my Russian students because they are crazy. Like, if I could have 100 Russian students, I would take them all. Russian athletes are some of the most disciplined, well-behaved. They listen to everything that you say. They genuinely, like, when I make corrections, you know, there's some cultures that you speak to where you can get a sense of, like, the ego. I don't know if you've experienced this or not.
Maybe not culture, but definitely certain people, yes.
I feel like it's a cultural thing. Like, Singaporeans, it can be hit or miss. Because Singaporeans sometimes are very willing to accept criticism. Others are not. Others, I can just give them the same shit over, and it's just like, go in one ear, out the other. Americans are also the same way. Some Americans are extremely willing to hear criticism. Others, just like, bleh, shit it out the ears. Like, you may as well not even say anything, right? But Russians, I don't know what it is about them. They have a dynamic between the coach and the student that is almost like, I remember Vlad told me this one time. Vlad is an old Russian student of mine that I had.
Yes.
He told me that in Russia, coaches are like parents. And teachers are like parents. You know, like in America, nowadays, it wasn't like this when I was a kid, but nowadays, if you go to a teacher about, like, let's say you go to a parent-teacher school conference and you talk to the parent or the teacher about the student, how they're behaving in class. Nowadays, it's way more fashionable to, like, argue with the teacher. Like, oh, my kid said this, right? When I was growing up, it was not like that. If the teacher said something to your parent about you, you were fucked. Like, you're going to go home, you're going to get grounded, you're going to get smacked. Like, something's going to happen to you if your parents hear from a teacher that you did anything wrong. Now I feel like that's a little bit less likely to happen. It's also the same in Singapore. I used to be a school teacher. I would argue with parents about their behavior in class that they weren't in, right? Like, so I'll be a parent-teacher conference. I'm the teacher. The parents are coming and talking to me. I'm explaining to the parent how their kid is, and they're arguing with me in broken English because they don't even understand what I'm saying, and they're arguing with me. And I'm like, I'm not lying to you. Like, I'm trying to explain to you what's going on and how your kid is behaving and what the good things are and what the bad things are. And they're arguing with me. And I'm like, listen, I have your kid's best interest at heart. I'm not fucking with you. Like, I genuinely am just describing what's going on. Russians are complete opposite. Like, they're like, if you're a coach to a Russian, they're like, you're like their father, right? They listen to everything that you say. They send me messages. They follow up. They apologize for things that they do. They say like, they're just so gracious and so amazing to teach. Like, man, if I could have 100 Russian athletes, I understand why they dominate sports. They are fucking so tuned in to criticism, unlike almost any culture that I've taught. Always when I get Russian students, I'm just like, fuck yes. I got one. All I need to know is they're Russian, and I'm like, I got one. I got a guy who's going to do what he needs to do, who's going to follow instructions, who's going to be here every day. And it's amazing. I guess some locals like that and some stuff, but the Russians are just they're a different breed.
Yes.
You have some students? Are they like that? You can say no.
Well,
This is just my experience.
They're quite okay. I don't have too many Russian students at all.
This is my current favourite thing coming out of Russia. It was amazing.
What is this?
Russian Twitch streamer burns gas 24/7 to troll the entire world. He's like, he took the feed down. He's in the middle of like Arctic conditions. He's got the you can see on the picture. He's got like the stove going and everything. The gas heater's going. He's got it up to like 48 degrees or something in his apartment, and he's got a little meter running alongside it showing how little money it's costing him.
What's that subheadline say? Can you read that?
While Europe faces the possibility of a winter without Russian gas, one Russian troll is running their stove non-stop 24/7 live.
God,
on
I love
Twitch.
it. I love it. I'm not even mad about it. Fucking Russians, dude. They're so weird. Oh man, that is hilarious. But I mean, goddamn, if you want to talk about a culture that's bursting to the forefront of like MMA, I mean, the combat sambo and stuff, man, these Russians are just so good. Man, they are good. If you look at like the UFC's top 10 in almost every division now, you're seeing these guys. You got Ankalaev. Of course, you have Khabib, Fedor, like old legends. You got Zabit, who's retired now, apparently. You got fucking Islam. You got, what's that guy whose name I always forget? The king of Kung Fu.
Muslim?
Salikov.
Yes.
Salikov. Fucking amazing. Even though he's like 37 years old, he's still throwing like wheel kicks to people's heads and shit. Like, man, and then Bellator, you got like Usman Nurmagomedov. He's crushing people. He's about to fight for their lightweight title. In one, you have all of these guys. You have Marat, who's a previous champion. Like, god damn, they're good. Fucking Sadulayev, the wrestler. Have you seen this guy? Do you know Sadulayev?
Yes. Yeah, I saw him.
God damn, is he
Crazy.
fucking good. And he's young. Like, jeez, I don't know what they do there, but...
A lot of wrestling, I'd say.
yeah, a lot of wrestling, a lot of grappling. Oh, man, it's good stuff. MMA is more global than ever, and jiu-jitsu also. I feel like as it gets more and more globalized, it gets really fascinating because you start to see divergences in like skill priorities. Like every country, culture has a different like thing that they put emphasis on and prioritize.
There's definitely like a US style now that's like Dana Death Squad style that's different to, you know, your more traditional Brazilian style. Like, that's for sure. And then from the American side as well, you've got like the 10th Planet style and stuff like that's come out. So you are starting to see versions of jiu-jitsu from each country that are like synonymous with that country, I'd say.
Mujik, were all your coaches Brazilian? Like when you were in the UK, were most of them Brazilian?
Yes, they were all Brazilians.
Brazilian.
Yes.
There were none. There were no UK, European black belts at that point.
There were loads of.
But students, right? Not teaching.
Yes. Yes. When I was at Roger Gracie, all the instructors, they were all Brazilians.
All of them.
Yes.
Was Mauricio there? Was he teaching still?
Yes, he was there.
Oh, okay.
He was there.
We're trying to bring him in next year.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the goals is to bring him in. I have a student who used to train with him in London.
Yes.
And, you know, it's like the Roger Gracie thing as well, like the affiliation or whatever. Like, it's just, you know what sucks? Jiu-jitsu politics. Suck. Asshole. And I will say this until the day that I die. I fucking hate it. You know why? I can't bring in Roger Gracie. You know why? Because he's affiliated with Evolve. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I...
Since he's not fought for him since what?
Yeah, but it's that...
2017.
But it's that Henzo thing with Evolve, and I'm just like, man, it fucking sucks. So it's like, we want to bring in Hodger because he gave my coaches black belt, right? But pretty much Evolve has exclusive rights to all those dudes. So then this other student that I had was like, oh, we'll bring in Mauricio, Hodger's dad, right? Which is cool. Like, I'd love to have a fucking coral belt, red belt, whatever the fuck he is at this point. Love to have him in too. But yeah, these politics, I just can't understand why we can't bring in a guy because he has some like fucking tertiary tangential relationship with another gym that's in the same area. And I think it's just one of the most toxic things about jiu-jitsu is this stupid politics. God, it drives me crazy. Anyway, we've talked about that ad nauseum on this podcast. We have a lot of repeating themes, Muujig, on this podcast.
Yes.
And toxic BJJ politics, one of them.
Boxing's very annoying. That stuff regularly comes up as well. So you know, yeah, we do have recurring themes. Oh, speaking quick boxing one as well. Did you see Parker lost last night?
Sorry, who? Joseph Parker?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see.
Yeah.
Who did he fight?
Oh God, I forget the guy's name. And he's I only know because he's English. Hang on.
Oh, so Englishman beat him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they're trying to set him up with oh God, the guy whose name I can't say, the Ukrainian fella. This is not, can't say his name.
That wouldn't make sense because now they're talking about doing Deontay Wilder.
Joe Joyce beat him last night.
What's his name?
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce. Oh yeah, I have heard of him. He beat Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's a new top 5 heavyweight.
Yeah.
Oh, another Englishman. God damn, you guys have like
that Olympic boxing program paid off, big style.
Yeah, I would say so because now that's like 3 of the top 5 Okay, Joshua, I don't know where you put Fury's number 1.
Yeah.
Joshua's probably like 3 or 4 in the top 5, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought Joseph Parker was probably somewhere in the top 5, so that's like 3 in the top 7
Yeah.
at least. English heavyweight boxing. Who knew?
Who knew? Me. Me when we won all those Olympic medals all those years back, it was like, oh yeah,
Which
this
heavyweight
is gonna move
boxing
forward
too
now,
is
yeah.
a thing. So that's 3 then. You got Joyce, you got Joshua, and you got Fury.
yeah.
The amateur programs are so important for developing those young people. God damn, interesting. Now they're trying to do Tyson Fury and Joshua. It's like, fuck you, dude. It's 4 years too late. You ruined it.
Yeah.
You ruined it. You had 2 undefeated English champions. And stupid. Sorry, what did we just say? I can't
Common
help
theme on
it.
the podcast.
Can't help it. It makes me so angry. Boxing sucks so hard. I love it, but goddamn the politics.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore, Jake. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
No more boxing talk.
I know. Anyway, how long have we been doing this podcast, Jake?
We're on hour 30.
Okay, that's pretty good. Mujik, anything else, dude? I want to get a couple more jiu-jitsu questions in before we get onto this. What? And I asked this to a lot of the coaches that I have. What got you into this? And I don't mean like, what. Oh my! I found a gym or whatever. I mean, like, what is the quality in you that martial arts or jiu-jitsu in particular, whatever, stuck with you for? So, for example, I'm talking more of like a personality characteristic, not like I found a gym or whatever. Like, I was talking to Jason, Nick's brother.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever met him.
No, I never met him.
He was on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He came here to do a seminar, and he gave me my stripe and my black belt, all that kind of stuff. And then I asked him the same thing. I was like, for a lot of people, it's insecurity, right?
Ooh.
For some people, it's ego.
Absolutely.
For some people, it's like being the fucking alpha, right? For some people, there's a lot of reasons why people train, but I'm talking about the core personality thing, right? Like, what is it in you that found this training, all this kind of thing, like endlessly fascinating to the point where like you would dedicate your life to this?
I guess just a meaning, really. Like.
But how do you derive the meaning? Like, what is it that derives the meaning for? It's a philosophical question, I guess, right? Like,
yes.
What is it about this that gives your life meaning? The suffering?
Man.
Is it the physical? Like what? You know what I mean?
Oh man,
Tough question.
It is definitely a.
We know we throw a lot of layups here at Stronghold Podcast.
This
I guess.
No, I'm going to say it can't go weirder than it did last time we asked this question.
Yeah, it never ends well when I ask this question, but I feel the need to ask it over and over again.
Oh man, for me, I guess it was just something that I could get good at.
Was it like? But what got you in the door? Or no? Well, this is what I asked Jason. What keeps you doing it? Is it the technical side, the skill development? Is it some people ego can be either way. It can go like I'm doing this because I want to build an ego, or some people it can be because I want to crush my ego. For some, what is it that keeps you doing this? Because there's always this thing that I talk about, which is intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic meaning that inner desire to do it when other people would stop. What is like your intrinsic motivation for training? Why do you keep coming back to this thing as opposed to something else? Loaded question. Sorry.
I think
I'm trying to put you on the spot, dude.
No. I think it does come back to the ego part where I do want to be the best. I train every day because I want to be the best, and I don't know.
Want to be the best at something.
Yes.
Why is it simulating murder against people? Like of all the things that you want to be the best at, why is it fucking ripping people's heads off and like passing people's guards like a knife through butter? Like what is?
Like I think it's exactly what you just said. It's the ego, insecurity, being the alpha. It's I think it's all these things together, really.
Mine was the insecurity, I think. I felt weak when I was young. And I guess for whatever reason, when I saw combat sports, it was like, oh, this is a path to non-weakness. But then you also have to, and that's ego, right? Part of that is ego because you're like, I want to be fucking like strong. I don't want to be bullied. I want to be whatever, right? So part of that is also your ego.
Absolutely.
But then in some unique way, it also crushes your ego.
Yes.
Which is endlessly fascinating about martial arts. Is that in some sense you're doing it to inflate your ego while simultaneously getting smashed in like reality of the situation, fucking crushing your ego as you start, right? What was it like when you started jiu-jitsu? Was it like
It was
humbling, eye-opening? Was there a memory? Everybody has a memory of like that one situation where for me it was a guy put me in a triangle. I was a wrestler. So that's the first thing I did was wrestling. And I remember taking this guy down feeling like I'm winning because I'm like on top. And I took him down. That's what I'm supposed to do. And then he put me in this triangle. And I could not escape this fucking triangle. I didn't even know what it was. He wasn't choking me, but I couldn't get out. And his legs were over top of my neck. And he would try to squeeze my head. And it didn't choke me, but I was like, knew that I was in danger. So it was like, he would pull, and I wasn't like choking, like I wasn't going out, but I was like, fuck, this is not good. I don't know why it's not good, because I don't know what's happened to me, but it's not good. And then he invited me to a jiu-jitsu class, and I just thought, like from a wrestling mentality, that being on top was better, and then blah, 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 blah. And then it just opened my eyes, and this other dude put me to sleep with the guillotine, and I was like, fuck. He choked me, and I remember waking up, and like the guy shaking my feet, and I felt so embarrassed. I was like a 0-stripe white belt, but I'd grappled for years because I'd done wrestling, and I just thought I was better, right? And then I just remember being like, fuck, this is different. Like, this is just completely different. You must have some memory like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, yeah, the first time I did jiu-jitsu was in that small town that I did. And before that, before I did Muay Thai, I was doing judo as well. And I thought, okay, I'm just gonna turtle up, and then that's it. But the instructor took my back, choked me out. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, I need to learn this.
Yeah, for me, it was like a superpower.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Like, I literally looked... I remember when I first started, I said this on the podcast so many times, but my coach was a blue belt, right? Like, blue belt, borderline purple belt, like upper blue belt. And I just remember being like, seeing him fuck everybody up. And I was a wrestler for years, so I had some grappling knowledge. It just wasn't jiu-jitsu specific, but I had some. And I just remember seeing him like destroy everybody. And then I remember the first time I saw a black belt. And I saw him wreck my instructor, who I'd seen wreck everybody. And he played with them. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this guy that I've seen just toy with everybody is getting toyed with and just tapped constantly. And I was like, dude, this is as close to the realistic manifestation of a superpower that I've ever seen. I saw it more with like striking later, like with kickboxing, and when I moved to Asia, Muay Thai. Because I got a Muay Thai coach who was a Lumpini champion. He could do the same thing from the feet. But I hadn't been exposed to that because the grappling was higher where I'm from than the striking. So years later, I saw the striking version of that, which is the same thing. Like, striking with Crew At, who's a 3-time Lumpini champion. He fought Sanchai like 3 fucking times to a draw and stuff. And then I remember sparring with him, and I was like, dude, this is like hitting a ghost. This is ridiculous. I can't touch this guy's face with my glove, even if I'm fucking bum rushing him. But grappling was the first thing, and I saw that. When I saw my coach get destroyed by these black belts, and it wasn't even difficult, I was like, oh, I gotta get some of this in my life. Like, I need to be that guy. Because you just never realize that, like, the levels to such things exist, right? Like, and then seeing that, like, I don't know how anybody doesn't want that. I literally can't understand how you can watch somebody like manhandle somebody and you're like, how can you be like, nah, I don't need to do that. I'm like, I need that now. I needed that 10 years ago. Did you see the Zuckerberg thing?
Yeah, we've been doing MMA.
Yeah. And he was like, oh yeah, where has this been my whole life? Like, I didn't know such a thing existed. I felt like the exact same way.
I just felt like saying, Mark, you're fairly rich. You can afford bodyguards to do that for you. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. That's a little bit of a beta move, right? You want to be able to do that yourself. That's the thing. You know, learn those skills and develop it yourself. All right, man. Anyway, Muujig, have you enjoyed this, man? Has this been good?
Yes, I did. I really enjoyed it. Yes, great.
We've talked for like 2 hours, man, or an hour and 45 minutes or something. Thank you for coming on, dude.
Of course.
I appreciate it. The whole thing I want to do with the podcast is just like chat with interesting people and coaches and people in the local scene and everything like that. So we appreciate having you. You want to shout out your like social medias or anything like that? You don't have to.
Well,
If
it's
you're not into it, you don't
Muujig
have to.
Altantugs. So
On the Instagram?
on the Instagram,
On the
yes.
gram.
There's only one, so
Yeah,
Not a very common name, really.
yeah, your name is one of one, I feel like. And you can also train with Muujig at Equilibrium.
yes.
So if you want to go and train with him, you're there all the time, right? Pretty much all the time.
Yes, I'm there every day.
Just to reiterate, Muujig is definitely one of the best jiu-jitsu players in the country. So if you want to go train with him, please. I look forward to the opportunity of training with you, man. You're probably going to fuck me up, but I'm into it. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm down. I don't give a fuck. I know how to tap. It's all good. Jake, the producer in the house, tried to get your mullet earlier. The barber wouldn't allow it.
I'm so disappointed.
He tried to come here with the mustache and the mullet, and the barber was like, "No, we will not allow you to do this to your family." All right, everybody. This is the Stronghold podcast. We're on episode 75 or something like that.
75.
Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week. Stronghold podcast.